Hey guys, it's Lisa and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to make over these little bunnies that I got from the Dollar Tree last year. So this is how they came, except that I have coffee stained these. So I coffee stained them last year and brought them in to make over this year. So I'm going to start by taking the little bow around their neck off, and then I'm going to cut the little tag off because that's a dead giveaway that this was just a little cheap bunny. So we're just going to make it look a little more vintage and give it some character and give it a shabby chic look. Now these are going to be quick little makeovers, and just a few little simple touches will make a really big difference in these. So I'm just going to start with some different types of lace, and this one I want to have a little collar around her neck, a little ruffly collar. So I'm just going to cut a piece of lace long enough to go just around it. There's not going to be any sewing here. This is going to be all just hot glue. And you don't have to be talented at all to make these over. You'll see how very easy it is to just change them up completely. Now this one I want to be a little bit more grungy, so I'm using my antiquing ink and making this look old. And obviously that's completely up to you, whatever look that you want your little bunny to have. Now these little bunnies would work really well in tiered trays or in little basket arrangements, or even just on their own in a vignette. But I'm just doing these different ways, and I'll use them in different ways in my store. Now, obviously, this was $1.25, I guess, because I did get it at the Dollar Tree. And I'll probably, I don't have to put much at all on these. And like I said, I have very little time in them. So I'm probably going to put $4 to $5 on them. I usually don't like to say what I ask because I find that prices vary so much in different areas, but occasionally I will say, because I have a lot of people ask, and that's just what I plan on putting on them. Now there are a couple that all I'm going to do is just tie something around the neck, so those I'll only ask about $3 for. Now this is a little shabby rose that I already had made. I made some up ahead in one of my recent videos, so I already had that to just glue on there. And now I've just tied a little simple bow out of some sheer lace, and I'm just gluing that right in front of one of the ears. Now you could do a little shabby bow if you wanted, but like I said, I just did a little bow that you tie, and kind of like tying your shoelace. And now, because that bow on the top is a little lighter than the lace around the neck, and the flower is lighter, and I felt like I kind of needed to tie them together, so I just used some little thin lace here. And this is actually just part of a lace that I've cut thinner, and I'm just gluing that around the top of the collar, and that'll just kind of bring all that together. Now you could make these more primitive if you wanted. I think primitive would be really cute on these. But I just kind of envision them being shabby chic, and so that's, and I got all this lace given to me recently, so I just thought I would put it to good use. And now I think that's such a sweet little bunny. And like I said, it was very quick and very easy. I'm not speeding this one up at all because I want you to see just how simple and quick they are to do. Now this is another one that I got. This was a little different style than the other one. So I just thought I would do one like this also. And this is going to be another little girl because I'm going to make her really frilly. And again, I'm cutting that bow from around the neck, and then I'll cut the tag off, and now I'll just start adding some lace. Now this one, I decided that I wanted to do some lavender on her, so I found a little piece of vintage lace that was actually cut, recycled from something, and this was in one of the boxes that was given to me, and I thought it was so cute, so I decided to make that the top of her little dress. So all I'm doing is just wrapping that little strip with the scalloped edge on the top. And that's a very simple way to make the top of her dress. And again, I'm just hot gluing everything, no sewing at all involved. I don't know if I've told you guys before, but I don't get along well with sewing machines. I feel like I know how to use them, but I always mess the tension up, so I just don't even try. If I have to do any sewing, then I just do some simple hand stitching. So like I said, I just wrap that around the top and glue it in place. And now I'm gonna make the skirt, and the skirt is gonna be very simple also, because I'm just gonna use some gathered lace. That is the length or the width that I need the skirt to be in length, and then I'll just wrap that around and glue that in place. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap it a couple times because I want it to be real fluffy. So I didn't feel like one was enough, and you could also see through one. So I just wrapped it twice and glued that in place, and that's as simple as that's a very simple skirt. Now you do need the gathered lace here. That's the only stipulation. I think if you didn't have gathered lace, I guess you could always kind of pleat it and glue it in place as you're pleating it, but in order to keep the top of the skirt neat, I feel like it should be a gathered lace. I have another video planned for tomorrow night, and I actually wanted to add it to this one, but I just wasn't going to have time to do all the editing involved, so I just decided to make 2 shorter videos. And actually, tomorrow night's may not be quite as short as this one. So again, I'm just wrapping that twice around and gluing it flush on the top. And then once I get that the skirt finished, then I'm ready to start working on the hair bow. And I want the hair bow to match the purple, so I just used some lace that was the right color of purple. And I just cut some little strips, probably about 3 inches long. And then I'll just tie those little strips together and to make the hair bow. And that'll just be very simple. And because this is such a small little bunny, then I don't feel like I need a whole lot of strips. I think I just tied about 4 together. So I just take a little narrow piece of ribbon and tied it together in the center and fluffed it up, and that's all that there was to this little bow. And because this ribbon was only scalloped on one side, I kind of alternated that so that I would have the scalloped edge on both the top and the bottom. Now you could add jewelry to this, or anything you want to add. I'm keeping mine kind of simple because even though I want it shabby chic, I kind of want to give it an Eastery look also. But like I said, you could be as detailed as you want to with these. Just keep in mind, though, that the more that you add, the more you're going to have to ask in price. So again, I'm just going to glue that bow right to the bottom of one of the ears, and then this little girl will be finished. So now I'm going to do one more little girl, and then the others, I'm just going to tie a little something around the neck and keep them very simple to use in arrangements so that they can be a little boy and be just as simple as I need them to be in my arrangements. So again, I'm just cutting everything off that doesn't go, and then I'm just going to start making my little dress. And for this one, I used a piece from a doily, and how some doilies have a scalloped edge, a very scalloped edge. I'm going to use that as the top of her little dress. So I'm just taking this one little scallop from this piece and gluing it right on the top. Now, anytime that I'm cutting lace and putting it on, I don't want the lace where I've cut it to unravel, so I make sure to get my glue very flush with the edge. So that'll just keep any unraveling from happening. So this will be kind of like a bibbed sundress, maybe, is kind of what the top of this is going to mimic. And so I'm just gluing that there in place, and like I said, that will be the top of my dress. I guess kind of like a halter dress. And then I'm just going to take some lace again, and that's the length that I need it to be, and make my little skirt. And again, I'm going to go ahead and do 2 layers of this. So I'll just glue those around the top and until I have 2 layers, and then that will be my little skirt. So tomorrow's video, I'm going to make some cloth bookmarks, and I'm going to make them in a shabby chic style also. And while I haven't ever really sold anything like that in my store, I do think that they would sell, but that isn't why that I'm making these. I'm making them to have on hand as gifts. And I think that it's good to have some little items on hand that you can give as gifts, and I think those will be perfect because it's not going to take much to mail them if you decide to mail them. So once I get finished gluing my skirt on, then because this is kind of a halter style top to this dress, then I feel like it needs something to tie around its neck. Now I had to cut a little piece off the top of this one where some of the lace had been removed, and I'm just going to take that little piece of trim and tie that around her neck and attach it to the halter top so that it ties like a halter top would. And here I'm just securing the bottom of the skirt to the piece underneath it so it doesn't hang down. So now I'm just going to take that little piece of trim and attach it to the top of the dress and wrap it around the neck. Like I said, you can embellish these with whatever you want. Actually, I'm just now thinking that little buttons added to it would be cute. And then once I get that attached around her neck, then this little dress will be finished. And all she's going to need is a little hair bow. And I'm going to use the same hair bow on this one as I did the first one that I did. So I'll just take that lace and tie a little bow in it. and trim that down and glue it to one of her ears. So like I said, these have been very simple to do and something that most anyone can do. So when you're out and you see small little stuffed animals that are the right size for tiered trays or to use in little arrangements, but maybe they're not quite what you want, then keep in mind that you can always coffee stain them, and you can always add some little vintage touches. And I also think these would be really sweet to add in Easter baskets for a little girl, because you could do them really frilly, and you could even do them in pinks. But my favorite is the one without the skirt. I just think that's the sweetest little bunny. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening, and God bless you and your family.